Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a good morning so far. I'm going to be going live with John at Camp Beagle. John will be on in a minute. We're going to be talking about animal testing and testing on dogs in particular. I'm sure many of you know about animal testing, but I think there's many people that don't actually know what goes on. And that dogs are used as well in the UK. It was definitely a huge shock to me when I found out that they were using puppies to do toxicology tests on. So John is going to be here in a minute to explain more. He's going to be live from Camp Beagle to explain exactly what Camp Beagle is, what they're doing, why they're there, and what you can do to help the dogs. So just about to add John. Here we go. Right, we're going live with John now at Camp Beagle. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good morning. Good.
I'm glad to see you. I'm actually abroad at the moment. I'm on a little break, but we've been meaning to talk for a long time.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously I know about what's going on, but I don't think everybody knows everything. And I think it's really good just to make it clear all in one space exactly what Camp Beagle is, what's going on there, why you're there, how long you've been there, and how people can help. And I think I'm speaking on behalf of the world actually, that most people would not realise that dogs are tested on these days and then brutally killed. So you know everything about that. So if you could explain.
Yeah. I mean, the world of animal testing, animal experiments, there's a real amazing history actually in this country of the opposition to animal experiments. It goes right back to the start of the 20th century when globally around the world, there was these horrific animal tests taking place, but it didn't number in the hundreds. There was isolated incidents where literally mad professors would nail dogs to tables and it would cause outrage. This is way back at the start of the 20th century.
Yeah.
There was outrage in this country. There was a statue erected called the Little Brown Dog statue. There was all these suffragettes and trade unionists and people that got involved in the struggle 100 years ago. But people, it's still going on. At the start of the 20th century, there was a few mad professors nailing dogs to tables. In about the 1940s, the 1950s, when the petrochemical industry took off, and by the petrochemical industry, I really mean the chemical industry. So all the insecticides and the pesticides and the food additives and all the chemicals in the paint, all the chemicals and everything we use. You know, we have something like I saw this figure the other day. There's something like 500,000 chemicals now in use. Mind-boggling, and they've all been. And now we want safe products, don't we? There's nothing wrong with using chemicals. Let's advance. You know what I mean? But we need safe chemicals. But the industry are an industry and they wanted to get their product onto the market. And they came up with this idea. You imagine it in the 50s, going on the American television, some man with a suit and a tie on behalf of like the big chemical companies. Maybe people won't have heard them. Companies like Syngenta, Aventis, Monsanto, DuPont. They wanted to get the product onto the market. So they were able to go on the television. Hello, everyone. We've got this new pesticide. We've got this new food additive and it's perfectly safe to use. But we know now it was tested on dogs and mice. And that's like, hang on, when you're sick, you don't go...
Why is it actually tested on dogs and mice? Their DNA is nothing like ours. So why would they actually test these things on dogs and mice? I just don't understand that.
Exactly. Well, we have to go back. Let's go back to the 1950s. This is what they did. We can't reverse history now. This is what the industry decided to do in order to get the markets on the product as fast as possible. Imagine if they had to screen every single chemical really, really carefully to do long-term studies, carcinogenic studies, finding out what it would do to, say, pregnant women. No, this was too slow for the industry. So they came with this idea of fast-tracking it and telling everyone it's okay, we've tested it, and we used to believe the authorities. Now, let's go on now to like the start of Camp Beagle, which we began 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
We set up here because these experiments are still going on. Say in this country, people think dog experiments. Do you remember the horrible pictures of in the 1970s of the smoking beagles? And there was massive uproar. There was so much uproar when those pictures hit the press. People thought they were banned. So I can tell you now, I'm sitting outside this factory, and it's a factory. There's about 1,300 dogs in there now. It's still going on, people. Our job is just to expose the truth and tell people it's absolutely going on. If it's science, then why is it taking place why is there so much secrecy? If it works, if it actually protects your children, then let's talk about that. But they don't want to talk about it. We are a massive thorn in their side because we've helped to bring back the argument all over again. Do you know what I said? There were 1,000 people on the street at the start of the 20th century. 1,000 people demonstrating. We're back again because it's still here. And do you know, like the mobile phones we're using now? The mobile phone I've got in my hand has got more computer capacity than the entire computers of the NASA space missions from the 1970s. My phone has got more computer capacity than a computer the size of, they literally would fill a cathedral, the NASA computers. This phone has got more computer storage space and capacity and functions. Science has moved on. There is no... When it comes to these dog experiments, it's not science. And it's not moving on. We've been here for 3 years now, and all the dogs from here we know now. We've studied the place. We're like the nosy neighbours from hell. We literally live here. I'll show you. Look, we're on the side of a road in a tent. Here's our people. Look. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
We're a community.
So how many...
And we live here.
How many people are there at the moment at one time? Hello? Hello?
How many of us are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 at the minute, not counting the dogs.
But that could turn into 20.
Yeah.
And if we could go back to 2 people later on, and then we'll get another 20 people tomorrow. But look, we're here on the...
all weathers and absolutely everything, aren't you?
All weathers. Talking of which, today it's like a real spring in the air. There's a real sense of spring in the air. But, do you know, the reason I said to you, let's do the live stream at 11 o'clock. Now try and, if people are listening, try and understand what I'm going to tell you now, because it's shocking. I tried to arrange this for 11 o'clock because I wanted to show you the workers leaving at 11 o'clock. So it's a massive puppy factory. There is dogs in there now giving birth. There is runts of the litter that should be getting fed extra. They should be getting looked after. There's dogs giving birth in there now. As I speak to you now, there is nobody in there. They left at 10:30 today, 10:30 a.m. They will not go back to work until 8 a.m. tomorrow. Do you know if you leave your dog in a vet's, you want someone to be there overnight. There is nobody now looking after these dogs. There's workers, there's security guards in there. There's security guards with guard dogs. Because we're like the nosy neighbours from hell and we watch everything they do. When we first discovered this like weekend rota, they send, how many people have we just seen leave? About
5 cars, so that's 6 people.
6 people have gone into work there today.
Honestly, how can they do that job? I mean, they know that a lot of those people probably have dogs themselves. I mean, as a mum of 7 rescue dogs, this literally, I mean, I just want to cry now. It literally breaks my heart. I can't even bear this. I don't know how you do what you do, hearing all the sounds, seeing the dogs leave. I don't know how you do what you do.
I tell you what we
It's
do. As
absolutely
we're talking,
heartbreaking.
it is a place of tears. Like, we've got a visitor today. Do you know this woman back there? Her Christmas present was to come to Camp Beagle. Her family said, "What do you want?" She goes, "Take me to Camp Beagle this spring." And she's come today. And she cried. As soon as she got here, she cried. But I think we need tears. I'm going to take
Yeah.
you down now and we'll hear the dog. This is a place of tears. It's like so wrong. And like I said, hang on, are you telling me now? There's the gates there, look. There's nobody in there now. Do you know, you said there's sort of people working in there. We've recently had information from a woman who she applied for a job in one of the laboratories, Charles River in Scotland. They take dogs. There's only about 4 or 5 destinations for these dogs. And they're all these contract research testing laboratories. We've had recent testimony from a woman that went to work there, but because she saw on the advert, do you want to learn how to look after animals? Do you want a qualification of looking after animals? She worked there for 2 months and she has nightmares now, and she's left and she'll have nightmares for the rest of her life. So it's a job. They always advertise for, like, do you want to learn how to look after animals? And they find people, 1 in 100, 1 in 200, that's able to work here then for decades. There's people that worked in this place.
John, I think you need to stay still somewhere. You need to stay still because your internet's not good where you are. Let's just wait and see if we can get John back.
Have you ever developed a bond for one single dog?
John, can you stay still somewhere? Can you stay still somewhere, because it's not good. It was brilliant where you were before.
Okay, I'll go back there if you want. I just want to show that worker said, I said, have you ever developed a single emotional bond with one dog? And she said, I have an emotional bond with every dog, with all the dogs. I just want to show you something now. There's the shed.
How can you do that job? That's what I simply do not understand it. There's a million other jobs out there that you could do. Why would you work in such a place?
Can you see the sheds?
Yeah.
You're now looking at a shed that holds hundreds of dogs. This is a massive site. There's about 1,200 dogs. In that shed there's about 200 dogs. You're right next to it. You can't hear a thing. They're in soundproof buildings. You know, said stay still. I just want to go down for 10 more yards.
Yeah.
And I want to go outside the air vent, and you'll hear, you can't hear a thing. But if I'll go opposite just one of the air vents, you'll be able to hear. Bless their hearts. And remember, so these dogs, they've never seen the sky. They've never seen a blade of grass. They've never seen a tree. Here we are. Look, it stinks. You know my face? Watch my face. I'm not acting. When I stand here, my face, you have to do this because it stinks.
Yeah.
Here we go. Now you might not be able to hear them. I can hear the background. It's all muffled. There are hundreds of dogs in that shed now. If they all start erupting, you'll hear them. It's an incredible story, isn't it?
If yourself wasn't there at Camp Beagle and everybody else that was there demonstrating, the mass media would not cover this at all, would they? Unless obviously a celebrity or something went down there. This is not on mass media. So we have to do something about this. We have to be their voice. And thank
it's
God,
an uncomfortable truth
that you are there, because otherwise nobody would know about this. And I think we have to keep saying that this is happening, because I think people, they want to forget. They don't want to believe this is happening. It's hard to comprehend that they're actually testing on dogs. Now, walk me through this. These are puppies.
Yeah.
They test on them, and as soon as they've tested on them and they've done what they've had to do, they then kill them. They destroy them.
Yeah.
And at what age do they do this? They're still puppies at this point.
Still puppies. Well, what they have as their guidelines is that these tests should be done on adult dogs. The dogs are about 6 months old when they go to the laboratory. 6 months old dogs are not adult dogs, they're puppies.
Yeah.
They go through the test. It could be a 30-day test. It could be a 60-day test. It could be a 90-day test. After that, the dogs will be killed. They'll be they're actually bled to death, believe it or not. Exsanguation. And this, I wish I was. This is factual. We're going from freedom of information, and then the dogs are post-mortemed, and their kidneys are examined, and they'll write, each one of these dogs, right, will get like a 50-page report on their livers and kidneys. And it's like, but that, it goes straight to a filing cabinet. No one will ever read the report. It's what the industry do, and then they can release it onto the market. We're grown adults, and
why is this still happening when you can actually buy products that are not tested on animals? Why is this still happening? It seems completely insane.
Can you hear them now? Can you hear the dogs? Can you hear the dogs?
Yes. Yes.
Whoa. I want to cry now. I've been here like...
I know.
Oh.
You know, I think sometimes people wonder why animal rights activists and people that are caring about animals lose their rag.
Oh.
I mean, it's such an emotive thing, and
It
it's so upsetting. I can completely understand. If someone touched the hair on the back of my dog's back, I would kill them. I mean, and I mean that too. And it's such an emotive subject. And I honestly don't know how you do what you do. Now, there is a Parliament debate coming up on the 19th of February, and you are having a peaceful demonstration outside Parliament.
We are.
Or gathering at the same time. And basically, we want to get as many people to come along as possible, don't we?
We do, and we're really overwhelmed this time. Do you know, like sometimes when you put the hard work in, because life's all about hard work. We don't get nothing by hard work, without hard work. This is all about hard work. And sometimes it can seem fruitless, and it does. But then eventually your hard work pays off. And this debate on the 19th is looking good. People are starting to say, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming.
It's all people power. And the more people that know, the more people that do something. There are many different ways of helping, isn't there? You've got the letter to the MP, which is already written out, so people just have to, I think, cut and paste, and then that goes directly to their local MP. And it's just about all of us keeping the pressure on and not stopping. I mean, imagine you in that situation. I always imagine myself. I always put myself in the animal's place, and that's why I feel so passionate about all of this, because I always feel, well, what would I want if somebody was doing that to me? I would want somebody to stand up for me. These dogs don't have a voice, but we do. So we need to keep doing what we're doing. And I mean, you guys are heroes to me. You really, really are. And I know there's...
I've got a history. I've got a history with this place. 30 years ago, I got sent to prison for 18 months for rescuing 82 dogs from here. But I told the judge this time at the High Court, I told him, this time we'll come to change the law. Well, I used to break the law. But I wasn't acting criminally by taking these things, but I knew there was a technical breaking of the law. But I told the judge, this time we've got to change the law. It's very unsexy, it's very hard work, it's very laborious, but that's what it's got to take. And there's no one to defend these tests. What about that? It's meant to be science. In the parliamentary debate we'll have, it will be like being at an animal rights meeting. Every MP, even all the, and forget about Labour and Tory, no matter what party they're from, they'll stand up, and this is what they'll say: on behalf of my constituents, I've looked into this. There's a problem here that we need to look at. They don't even say we need to stop it now today. We need to do something about this. Action needs to be taken. There won't be a single MP that will stand up and say, no, this is good. But what will happen at the end of the debate, they will send a Home Office minister, and that Home Office minister will very rudely and contemptuously read out a pre-prepared statement as if the debate never happened, going, there is no problem. This is the finest country in the world for regulation. It's like, enough. The doublespeak doesn't do it anymore.
Somebody's asking why we won't do a physical protest outside the place at LabCorp. Physical protests are there all the time.
We had we had a camp many years ago outside LabCorp. LabCorp has had thousands of people outside it back in the day. There are demonstrations, so just keep going. Everyone wants to stop it today. So do I. But life's not like that. Like you said exactly. People are always writing us to what do we do? I don't know what to do, but just keep going. If you've got love in your heart, don't get crushed. Keep the pressure. I don't know what, if I had a magic wand, it'd be great, but we haven't. It's just going to be, we just got to keep going.
I know this is really, really gruesome, but what exactly do they do to the dogs? What in the lab? What exactly do they do?
From here. They go from here, and we know where they go to. There's Sequani in Ledbury, LabCorp in Huntingdon, LabCorp in Harrogate, Charles River in Scotland. That's where they go to. They'll go into the lab. After 2 days, the experiment will start, and the experiment with the toxicology test, it'll be exactly the same as when they did it in the 1950s. They haven't changed one bit. They will give sodium benzoate or something, polyglycol. The workers don't know what they're testing. The test product will be product AB734A. They will then give different amounts to different dogs. How they administer it, sometimes they do it with a tablet, but one of the main ways they do it is called a gavage, where they stick the tube down the throat. And you can imagine the dog wiggling. Do you know why they use the beagles? I feel like crying a lot today for some reason.
Yeah,
it's because of their gentle nature. Yeah. It's because you try and do that on your dog. Anyone's got a dog, you know what I mean? If you had to go to the vets, they wiggle and squirm. Imagine sticking a tube down their throat every day. The dog eventually is going to, and most dogs will make a stand on that day and they'll bite. The beagles, bless their hearts, they just freeze. They literally freeze. These dogs are purpose bred because of their nature. It's monstrous. So they can, this worker I told you about from Scotland has come forward. Within 2 days, she was holding the dog while they stuck a tube down their throat. You know, it's called a gavage. It's not a tube. Even that's got a posh name. And so for 60 days, 30 days, and the nature of it is, as the dogs get sick, they don't intervene with the vet. They record it cold as ice. And then after the 30 days, 60 days, the dog will be killed, post-mortem, and those results will then go into the filing cabinet and sit there in case in 20 years' time you want to take DuPont to court because you took a certain product but you suspect damaged your child's liver or something like that. And they can get it back out of the filing cabinet, go to court and said, well, my lord, we did all the required tests that we were required to do. It has to change. It's not good enough, is it?
No, it's not good enough, and there is everything out that you can absolutely get anything and everything that isn't tested, so I don't understand why they're still testing anyway.
We haven't talked about the science that these things are NAMs, non-animal methods. They are queuing up. To think of the artificial intelligence. Everyone's sort of a bit freaked out about it. Welcome to the future, everyone. It's got some weird, sinister implications if sort of strange governments get hold of it in terms of surveillance. But in terms of medical science, people are really excited about artificial intelligence because it can do sort of billions of things in 1 second. It's perfect for this. But so you've got these cell cultures, you've got computer models, you've got these, but not one single non-animal method has been accepted in this country to replace sticking a tube down a puppy's throat that they've been doing since the 1950s. It's like, yeah, you're shaking your head and so am I. And it's like, well, it seems that, oh, hang on, let's get rid of it then. If John is, what's saying is John is don't believe me, but if what I'm saying is true, then it should be simple enough. We're grown adults. Let's stop doing this and let's do something that actually protects us instead. But your DuPonts and your Monsantos and your men in grey suits they don't want change.
Will there ever be an end to this? Will there ever be an end to testing on dogs?
Yes.
Will there ever be an end to testing on animals, all animals? Yeah,
the writing is on the wall. Like I said, no one will stand up in the debate. I'll be amazed if they do. They won't. No one in the world stands up to defend these tests, right? So within the industry, we've got internal documents. They all know the writing is on the wall. All these non-animal methods are literally queuing up. Not one has been accepted. They're there now, ready to use today. If we all go home, if Camp Beagle pack up today, if you never do another live stream about it, in about 30 years' time, that's their sort of timetable, they will have swapped over. But as we speak today, you speak to the government will tell you there's no roadmap. There's a science minister. He's the minister for science, and he's not in charge of these dogs. You know who's in charge of these dogs? The Home Office. What? The Home Office. The Home Office deal with the police, security, what? The Home Office are in charge of these beagles puppies, not even the science minister. The science minister, though, in the same week, he gave one speech in Parliament. His exact words were, this was about 2 weeks ago, the day cannot come soon enough when we bring about the end of animal testing. The day will not come soon enough when we bring about the practice of animal testing. That's his exact words. It's ingrained in my mind. And he said that day is not now. The next week he was asked in Parliament, could you give details of the roadmap of how we're going to get rid of these tests? And his answer was, there is no roadmap. We live in the finest country in the world with all the best regulations. It's like, please.
So what, on the 19th, we want to get as many people there as possible. Bring their dogs as well if it's safe to do so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We want dog. Yeah, it will be safe.
And obviously, if their dogs are well behaved and everything else, there's going to be lots of other animal charities there as well, I believe. PETA, Animal Aid, Viva.
We're so delighted about that because, do you know, maybe this day and age, everyone does their own thing. Each organisation does their work. But I don't know, I'd like to see a bit more coordination amongst us. And for the 19th, finally, we're going to have Viva, PETA, Lush,
K-9 Angels.
Animal Aid, K-9 Angels. People are coming together. Yippee!
There's lots of people on here saying that they're coming as well.
Fantastic.
So there's lots of people. And obviously, I'm going to share a post as well.
But be careful about this because, do you know, like, we live in a world where we're going to have the debate in Parliament. We're all going to show up. Surely that's going to do it, isn't it? It's not.
No.
Remember, the Home Office are going to stand up and they will dismiss us. So part of the reason we do this is to build up pressure and to make people kind of angry afterwards of like, hang on, this is our fourth petition. We've had 250,000 people signing up our first petition. This is our fourth petition where we've gone over 100,000. And we won't be ignored anymore. And it gets frustrating when you get ignored, but try to put the frustration, no, don't put it to one side, but just feel it and double our efforts rather than give up because we didn't get what we wanted on that day.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not expecting toxicology tests to be banned on the 19th after the end of our debate. No. But we're going to be doing it on what happens on February the 20th. We'll be here and you'll be doing your stuff. March the 20th, February the 20th next year. We're going to, it's pressure. It's the only way we're going to do it.
Absolutely. I think all of you guys are amazing and we'll 100% be there on the 19th and we hope that as many people as possible will be there with their dogs if they can. If not, just be there, sign the petition, write to your MPs, just keep sharing posts. I mean, the more that we do, the better. Sitting back is not going to help. We've got to just keep the pressure on, as you've said. And if anybody wants to join you down at Camp Beagle, the door's always open.
The door's always open. The kettle's always on. You don't have to arrange when to come because remember, we're always here. I say we're a community. I'm going to get away today for a couple of days. Hallelujah. I spent too much time here and I wouldn't recommend doing what we've just done as a community. Like, it destroys you. I'm destroyed.
I can understand.
But, you know, but I'm going to get away for a couple of days. But because we're a little community, but it's like keeping a fire going. There's always someone here. Yeah. We never leave. And we're not going to leave until this place is gone. I just want to say one more thing, because we're talking about dogs here, K-9 Angels. And The reason I got into the whole animal rescue thing is a dog died in my arms. 40 years ago it happened. I went out with a woman who was vegetarian, right, for 4.5 years. I didn't have a clue what she was on about. It was the dog dying in my arms
Yeah,
that made me go, that opened me up.
yeah,
And same with animal experiments, there's millions of animals. Monkeys get the same. They catch monkeys in Vietnam and Cambodia. All these companies in America, they're being prosecuted at the minute for illegally smuggling monkeys in. LabCorp has got the largest monkey torture facility in the world. It's only a few miles away from here. So I'm proud to be here to talk about the dogs all the time, but I feel these dogs are they're like
yeah,
ambassadors to open our hearts to all animal suffering. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
there's
And you know,
nothing wrong with it. People might say, why'd you go on about the dogs? Because I'm outside the dog factory. Dogs, I've got a special place in my heart.
yeah,
I don't apologise for that. I haven't got some of the emotional connections with mice or turkeys that maybe I have with dogs, but I don't want them tortured, thank you, you know?
yeah. And also, this is all kept secret and underground, isn't it? They're not going to say what they do. They clearly are ashamed of what they do. So
Yeah.
um, it's all kept secret, and the mass media, you know, don't do anything about it. So thank you.
Yeah, it's science. It goes under the name of science. You can't have both, can you? You can't have science and then hide it. Then it's not science. I remember at school, you know, it's a basic premise of science. Whenever you do your hypothesis, you do your experiment, you get your result. You don't then hide your result. You have your result for the peers to look at. But in this case, no, secrecies. All there is barbed wire, security guards, no comment.
Yeah, and you don't know the names of any of the people who are in there. I mean, obviously, we don't want to go into doing anything terrible, of course, but they don't let you know who works in those places, do they? There's no way
No,
of finding out.
but because we're the nosy neighbours from hell, the
You
curtain
know,
twitchers,
yeah,
and I'm not, to be honest, I'm not interested in giving you a list of
yeah,
names
yeah.
because it's too easy to and then people will
I get that.
focus on those individuals. We're dealing with a massive industry. That if we get rid of all these workers today, they'll find some other dross to do it. They'll scrape the floor and find someone somewhere that is capable of doing this. So,
I read
yeah.
today, actually, this is nothing to do with Camp Beagle, but in Georgia, USA, they're planning on opening a breeding facility for, I think it's 30,000 monkeys. So
And do you
this
know
isn't going
why?
away.
That's fine. Do you know that we're getting together now? That's a joint project, and check out the name of that company. It's called Safer Human Medicines. They're starting to really try and, you know, they make no comment, but they're propaganda. That's Charles River LabCorp Initiative, because they've just been caught with their pants down illegally smuggling monkeys from Cambodia and Vietnam. They're being prosecuted in America, and they've come up with that idea now for a monster monkey factory. And we've just got to stop, you know, like, please, please, please.
I honestly feel violently sick. Look, you're amazing. Everybody there is amazing. And I'll make a post afterwards where everybody can write to the local MPs, all the details, how they can support Camp Beagle, and obviously
Ah,
the protests outside Parliament, and anything else, just drop me a line, and
okay.
we'll just keep
Can,
sharing, you know.
can
And
I just,
everybody, please do not stop. Keep going. We must end animal testing. We really must. And
and do you know, on the subject
dogs
of
are my
MPs,
absolute world. And the thought that this is happening to dogs is just angers me and saddens me to the core. And I hope to be alive to, you know, to see
we
this
will.
stop.
No, we will. I'm a bit crushed, but I'm telling you now, this is going to go. It can't sustain. There's nothing left to say. All it's got is powerful vested interest behind it. They haven't got a grain of truth. They haven't got a grain of decency. It will go. It will go. And all the conditions are there to get rid of it now.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I hope you get a good break as well. And I can't even imagine compassion fatigue that you guys
Oh,
get down there. It's just, I mean, I feel sick most days, to be honest with you, thinking about all of the animals all around the world. And you know, with the dog rescue that we do, I feel violently sick most days, but you do need to take little breaks. So you've got to look after yourself as well.
You do. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Take care. Speak very soon.
All right,
All
love you
right.
loads. Ciao, everyone.
You.
And
Bye
see you on the
bye.
19th if you can.
Yeah. See you
And
on
if
the
you can't,
19th.
come down for a cup of tea at the camp, and then it'll make sense. And you can walk down, and you can see these horrible sheds. And yeah, be prepared to cry. I'd like to see people cry here. To me, it's a good thing. It's like, let them tears come. It's all right. Because people say sorry. The first thing people do when they start crying,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And it's like, nah, keep it flowing, you know?
Yeah. I understand. All right. Take
All
care.
right.
Big kiss
Ciao.
to all. Bye bye. Bye.